My opponent will have you believe that the Second Amendment will be violated, that not enough people or any people will be protected, and that assault weapons cause too little death to be of the matter. However, that is simply untrue. We have shown that in his studies, his results were nitpicked. I also cited the same Bureau of Justice statistics that he cited, except this time I explained my citation with the fact that it doesn't allow for the logical gap that because more violent crime was happening, you have to set it in proportion to everything else. My opponent has also stated that the 1994 ban left loopholes for weapons and handguns. Well, the 2013 ban that is trying to be pushed through Congress right now does not. Furthermore, my opponent has advocated for the gun control of handguns. If he wishes to further control handguns, please do. In fact, in the 2013 legislation, much more controls are being put in place so that assault weapons such as handguns that would kill many people are being regulated. The fact is, this legislation is the only piece of legislation with bipartisan support and approved by more than 70% of the American population. In fact, it was even proved to be correct by the Supreme Court, which ruled on my case in 2008. That is the latest precedent set on the federal level. Federal courts do outweigh state circuit courts, especially when similar rulings in Connecticut and Illinois have supported the federal court's ruling. In the end, this ban does not infringe upon Second Amendment rights. I have shown that bans like this were instituted since the founding of our nation. Our democracy is powerful. It has a system of checks and balances that will prevent tyranny of government. Freedom of speech will not be infringed, but instead, lives will be saved. You may still bear arms, just not those specifically designed for killing in a war zone. And finally, I would like to ask my audience, what is this debate about? It is about lives. It is about saving lives. It is about the very possibility of saving those 874 lives that were lost tragically due to mass shootings. It is about the possibility of having these people see their families again, to have them live one more day. As long as that possibility is on the table, I think that would outweigh any concern that my opponent has. Thank you.
I'd like to go into what this debate has come down to, and then I will go into why the con side has won this debate. The pros' whole argument, and their job is to prove to you that their world is better than the status quo world. The pro in this debate essentially has rested their whole argument on the idea that this would stop mass shootings and on the idea that this would stop gun crime. But in fact, this is not true. As I've mentioned, the three studies which the pro never refuted, other than saying that they also referenced the same study, but they didn't mention the other two studies, and also didn't refute the findings of the Department of Justice study, which was that the ban that he is proposing in this debate would in fact not solve the issue of gun crime or gun deaths. And then he tried to change the framework by switching to a 2013 ban that still leaves loopholes in the ban for handguns that have the same capabilities as the assault weapons he's trying to ban. Therefore, this would not stop any gun deaths, as the three studies mentioned, because you could buy guns with the same capability as the guns that he's trying to ban in this debate. Legally, you could continue to buy them. So therefore, I don't understand the pros' argument in this debate. We should ban certain types of weapons and other types should continue to stay legal. This was in fact the reason why the first ban failed, and why this ban would fail. Additionally, again, on that same point, handguns with the same capabilities have also been used in mass shootings and will continue to be used in mass shootings. Orlando, for example, where 50 people were tragically killed. I acknowledge that this is a tragedy, but he used a handgun that would not be banned in any of the proposed assault weapon bans. Therefore, this would not stop mass shootings, and this would not stop gun crime, essentially nullifying all of the pros' arguments in this debate. Now, I'd like to go into some of the costs of what a world in which this ban is in place would cause. Firstly, it would eliminate the possibility of background checks. He talks about bipartisan support for this. There is no bipartisan support for this measure. In fact, this would ramp up backlash to this issue, which would lead to the impossibility of background checks, a much more effective method, being implemented. So it in fact would make the gun problem worse by not getting needed background checks implemented. And finally, he continues to reference a Heller v. District of Columbia Supreme Court case that all it says is that there can be limits on the Second Amendment. It does not mention an assault ban. And in fact, the only federal court to mention assault bans, the most recent federal court to mention assault bans found that it would be unconstitutional. And the precedent as of today is that an assault ban would be unconstitutional, as federal Judge Waxler, ruled in Maryland. Therefore, in this debate, the con has proven that there is no benefit other than security theater or scare of military weapons. There is no benefit in gun crime or mass shootings to a world in which a ban of assault weapons is in place. But it makes background checks impossible, and it is unconstitutional. Thank you, and I urge a con vote in this debate.